tuning forks, gongs, singing bowls, drumming, and chanting can all be used to help us heal. And in this episode, we chat with Erica Longden, the author of Vibrational Sound Healing, all about how we can harness the power of vibration for sound health. Erica, how does sound heal us, change us?
First of all, I'm delighted to be here on Magic and Mediums, and you're talking about my favorite topic that's close to my heart. It's actually very simple. Everything is vibration. The scientist Nikola Tesla said years ago, if you want to understand the nature of the world, think in terms of vibration. We're all cells. I mean, you and I are a community of 50 trillion cells, and I have to say that they're listening to you all of the time. They're listening to the world outside us as well. So they're very susceptible to vibration. And the reason in my book, Vibrational Sound Healing, that I've talked about sonic vitamins is because that's how I see sound. You take dietary vitamins if you feel like your diet's a little bit off. But do we ever think about which sonic vitamins? Do you think how you spoke to yourself? Do you think of the environment that you're in, whether the noise affects you, whether you went in nature? And the whole point is that your cells are vibrating, and to be in what I call sound health, you need your cells to be vibrating exactly at the frequency that they need to be. I kind of think of it like an orchestra. If you think of an orchestra, you have the violins and you have the brass and the woodwind and the what have you, the drums, and they're all doing their individual job, but they all have a different vibration. And when they're working well together, you get a glorious sound. You hear a concert. But say the violins are out of tune, or maybe the drummer is off time, or the tuba makes a horrible noise. Your reaction is, I don't like that. And your body is exactly the same. It needs to be tuned in harmony in order to work at its optimum health, which I call sound health. So for me, that's how vibration, how sound is something that we need to pay attention to, and we need to look at our intake, our vitamins.
Yes, definitely. I'm actually looking at places, and when I'm looking like on Zillow, Trulia, you can actually look to see the noise pollution of where you're looking to go. So I like that we get to talk about, it's not just looking at crime in the place. We also have to consider, I guess, is the environment sound, and the sound of the environment, how that impacts us. I did really enjoy how in the book you talk about sounds as vitamins, and that brings me, it actually made me think, well, do different instruments, do they provide a better quality of vitamin? We all know we can get, the grade A quality vitamin, or we can get the sort of generic. So when we're talking about sounds as vitamins, does it really matter if we're listening to a sound on our computer versus if we're hearing it in real life? Does it matter if we're using a singing bowl or we're using a tuning fork? Can we still achieve the same effect via different mediums, different instruments?
That is a great question, and I love it. The answer is, for me personally, live is always better, because you not only hear it with your ears, but when you're taking in sonic vitamins, you feel the vibration. I'm particularly thinking, say, for a gong, you feel it go into your body. I mean, my thing is tuning forks. That's what I use. And again, there are what you call osteophonic tuning forks that are designed to go onto the body. So for me, live is better, but it does not mean to say that if you can't get to a live gong bath, or you can't get to tuning fork specialist, by all means, go on the internet, find a really good track, put on some good headphones. It will work. Your body's still listening, but you're just taking it into your ears. Whereas if you experience sound live, whether it's a choir or a concert or a tuning fork or a gong or whatever it is, you take it in with the cells of your physical body take it in as well. So for me, it is preferable to have it live, but it is by no means impossible that you get a good healing from a recording. And also, one of the things I learned when I was training is that you can, because energy is intent, and any sound healer would tell you sonic intent is what brings holistic healing. The performer can intend that the healing is happening while they record the song, the piece of music, and your soul, your energy system will intake that intent. You can record, in fact, I had a friend of mine who's a very good musician do this, record the same piece of music, played it, first of all, with really heartfelt intent. And the second time, he just played it. It was nice. And then I played it to people, didn't tell them which was which. And without exception, when they listened to the first piece with intent, they were, oh, that feels so wonderful. And they didn't realize that actually it was the same piece, but intent plays a large part. Yeah.
Yes. That reminded me of just soul music, and just the name that something is soul music. I feel that you just really talked about the definition of that. Of course, it's a genre, but anything possibly with that intent of putting their soul into that can be soul music and touch your soul. So not only is this sound, you know, almost like kind of made with the soul, it's laced with this intention. There's almost a concept that music can be a portal to other realms. So can you tell us if sounds can connect us to an angelic realm? What exactly are angelic vibrations?
Yes, 100%. As well as a sound healer, I'm also an angel therapist and a dragon whisperer as well. I work with the angelic realms every single day of my life. It was my beginning into this work. And there are ranges of tuning forks called angelic tuners, and there are archangel tuners. They tend to be a very high vibrational frequency because angels vibrate on a very, very high frequency. And they do connect us to the angelic realms. Now, I know some people might say, I'm not sure I believe in angels. Well, actually, it doesn't matter whether you do or not, because they believe in you and they're there in a heartbeat if you want them. But I would say to you, open your parameters a little and maybe try some angelic tuners. Or listen to, there's lots of music on the internet that has been designed to replicate the energy of angels. So yes, it can connect us, especially if we're feeling a little fractured, a little frazzled, the world has got to us. Get yourself some lovely angelic vibrational music and just listen to it and see how your body takes it in and how you relax and how you feel, and whether you call it your higher self or the angelic realms or God or Jehovah or soul or spirit, the universe. I don't care what you call it. To me, it's the same thing. And yes, absolutely, music and vibration can connect us to that.
Yes. I feel that not only does it connect us to these different realms, but it can connect us to this sense of power as well. When I was doing mantras, I had these I bought, I guess they're like little micro SD cards, and my teacher was like, oh, just have them play very, very low and have them in like different corners of your house. And that does give you a sense of power, but it also, we can say, a sense of protection as well, that your home is in this like elevated state just from sound. So I really, really like that. So
Absolutely, it can, because it's vibration. Yeah.
yes, yes. So the sounds that we naturally make, I wonder if that says something about us, because we're talking about how sounds can heal us. So for instance, this is a pretty cliche one, but maybe because I'm a little judgmental, I kind of think of somebody who curses all the time, is yelling. To me, that kind of shows maybe they're not at optimum health. But for you, what are some sounds of maybe not the best health? Is there a certain sound that you think is like, oh, I know this person is a little off or is not for me or could use some help?
I think what's important is not so much if you say someone's cursing, not so much the words they use, but again, I come back to intent, the intention behind it. Because sometimes when we need to let off steam, in fact, I suggest it in the book, go, yell and beat some drums and shout if that's what you need to. You don't want to be bottling up anger, but you're not shouting at someone. It's the intent behind it. And also there is the wonderful work by Dr. Masaru Emoto, who did all that work in Hidden Messages with Water, where he took samples of water and they were told they were loved, or they were told, you fool, or other things. And then he would separate the water and he'd freeze it and then put it on slices under the microscope. And the results were astonishing. The water where you said, I love you, was the most beautiful crystalline formation. And the water, you fool, or you idiot, was a horrible, misshapen, fuzzy thing. But what's even better is when he then took the water that had been shouted at, and it was prayed for, or it was told that it was loved and forgiven, and they photographed it again, it had a beautiful crystalline nature. And we are 70% water. So think what happens when either someone says something to you, or worst of all, we are our own best musical instrument. How do we speak to ourselves? How often do you say, oh, you idiot, I shouldn't have done that? Or tell yourself off, and your cells are listening to you the whole time. So if you catch yourself doing that, and we all do, we're human, but then correct it and say, actually, no, I'm not an idiot. I was just trying to do the best I knew how, but hey, how can I reframe that to encourage myself? It's like encouraging a child. If you tell a child they're stupid and won't achieve anything, 9 times out of 10, that poor child doesn't. But if you encourage a child to be the best they can be, the child will flourish. And sound with us is exactly the same. So it is very important how we talk to ourselves and how we talk to other people. And therein lies the power of prayer. That's why prayer works, because sonic intent can be spoken, or it can be a thought form. Vibration is just as powerful from your mind. In fact, if anything, if it comes from your heart, the Institute of Heart Math has proven that the heart is electronically, it is 5,000 times more powerful than what comes out of your mind. So I would say to you, it's not so much what you say, but it's the power behind it. Because when it comes from the heart, it's like a magic wand. So be careful how you wave it.
Yes.
This 45-card deck teaches you how to release blockages and negativity via techniques like EFT tapping. The cards provide instruction on all types of magic, including sex magic, kitchen magic, and more. It also highlights keywords like forgiveness and other spiritual concepts to help you bring more magic into your life. And of course, it not only talks about mediumship, but is a tool that can be used to receive messages from beyond the veil, no matter where you are, in a defined sacred space or not. The Magic and Mediums Oracle seeks to inspire you to find your magic and use it.
So what sound, what vitamin would you advise for someone who has that issue of talking down to themselves?
I would say to work with 2 chakras, your heart chakra, obviously, and your solar plexus, because the solar plexus is your personal power. So when you talk down to yourself, you're removing your personal power in the world. You're saying, I haven't any power. And of course, we all absolutely have power in the world. So the vowel that I would use for the heart, it's not surprising. And vowels are like vegetables. They're very, very good for you. And the vowel that is just a no-brainer to use for your heart is ah. I mean, it's the vowel at the center of the word heart. And you think, if you see something you love, or you see a child or a puppy, you go, ah, because it's your heart, it's the heart. So just sit there and maybe breathe out, because we tend to be very constricted when we're upset. So just take a deep breath and go, ah, I just put the cares of the world down and give yourself a little forgiveness. And if you feel like toning, which is just pick a single note, and you can just tone on R and just go, ah. And maybe aim it at someone, aim it at yourself, or aim it at someone you love. It's a very, very powerful vowel. And if you want to work down with this solar plexus, this power center, it is the vowel O. O. And if you listen to someone intone OM as the full triple vowel, sometimes written as ALM, you end up going R-O-Um. So you've just doing that. You're breathing properly, you're centered, you've used two very powerful vowels, and you've closed it with the which is a very, very personal consonant. It's the I am, it's my center. So you've just given yourself a mini sound healing just by doing that.
Yes, I feel so much more relaxed too, and I hardly did it. So yes,
Good.
that's amazing. And what I really liked about that is that these are letters pretty much anyone can do. Like, this is not a Polish where you're like really like, my mouth isn't made to make these sounds. It's very universal, which is awesome. You know, I feel even across ages too, it's just so easy. And that also made me think about how in schools, when I was in grade school, there was a lot of talk about cutting the budgets. And one of the first thing that was cut was singing class. And people were just in uproar because not only is it, you know, such a creative thing connecting you with different parts of your brain. If you know how to sing, you pick up languages easier, but now we're seeing that it's not only just, you know, singing along to the greatest hits, it's really also having the ability to heal yourself. I mean, you know, sometimes when I see, when we look at these healing videos, they're like, oh, well, if you sing C, then that connects with this or that. I mean, that is a whole almost language that we should know. How to use our body as this tool that you've just, you know, showed us a couple of seconds ago, a tool for healing. So can you share with us the first time or one of the most impactful times that you've used your body, your sound to heal someone else?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me have a think about that. Well, certainly I think it would be with tuning forks, but also I'm a meditation teacher. So getting someone, people say, oh, do I have to have some kind of instrument to be a sound healer, or do I have to be able to sing? No, you don't. But everybody's born with a healing instrument, and it's there. It's your voice. And babies know very well how to do that. They heal themselves. If a baby wants something, it cries. If a baby is happy, it gurgles. And as we grow up, babies talk a kind of gibberish. And there is actually a healing modality in some places in India where they speak gibberish deliberately. So you have a healing instrument here all the time. And it's about entrainment, not entertainment. We're not planning to put you on Pop Idol or, you know, America's Got Talent or whatever. It is about entrainment. It's about your body listening to the vibration. And that's actually where humming comes in. Jonathan Goldman has written very powerfully on this. He's written an entire book called The Humming Effect. Because humming, as you ended the OM, the brings you into your forehead, it resonates the whole higher capacity. So I can remember a time of getting someone to use their voice, of loosening somebody up who wouldn't use their voice, just by getting them to start by humming or starting to use vowels, to overcome their self-consciousness in using what is actually their most powerful tool. So I would say that before I even got to tuning forks, that was one of the most powerful ways that I started to work with someone and see them getting results. And there's a very fun game that you can do with people, getting them to hum. It's great to do with kids. You can try it now if you like, because to hum has to resonate the entire top cavity of your face. And especially children go, uh-huh, okay, maybe. Try and hum holding your nose. You can't. Because you've got to use the whole of that cavity and your third eye to hum. So it's a great game to play, and it gets people trying to hum, and it gets people, and as soon as somebody will hum, then you can get them to do a note, doesn't matter which note, and then you can get them to start using some vowels, and then suddenly you've got the healing going. So that's my first experience of bringing what I call sonic vitamins, the vowels, vitamin V, into someone's life.
Yes. This reminds me of when I was introduced to, I guess, doing more sigil magic, and I guess you can call it Enochian magic. And a big part of the instruction was when you say the names of the angels, it's not just saying like Gabrielle, it's this like, it was very paramount to be speaking it with a sense of like power and have it vibrate through your body, which I was like, oh, like I never, was taught that. Of course, you naturally do that when you're like summoning something, you speak with authority, but to have that instruction of like, it has to vibrate within your whole body, really brought the magic for me to like a whole other level. So yeah, I love that we're learning about our body as these tools of connection and healing. And if you had just one thing to say about sound to somebody who just doesn't believe in this, who is reluctant to work with this, what would you say to them to just convince them to give it a try?
I think I would say to them, have you ever been to a musical concert where the music so moved you that you either felt tears or you felt uplifted, or how that really made you feel? Because we're used to music doing that. We're used to the words of songs doing that. And what that is, of course, is a form of sound healing. I was going to share with you one of the most powerful things you can do with a group of friends who, especially if they would just open their parameters a little to try this. You were talking about name, vitamin N in my book. Your name is the most powerful thing to you. And it doesn't matter whether you're called, I don't know, Mary, and there are 15 Marys in your class at school. It's still your name. And you've heard that name since the moment you were born and they called your name. It's sacred to you. And a lovely thing to do is to get a circle of friends. And again, you don't have to be singers, and sit in a circle, and you put one of you in the middle, and you just use a little 3-note tone of ooh. And you start to all do that, and then you change it into the person's name. So for you, it would be Aniel, Aniel, Aniel. And you say it with your heart. And I promise you, the person in the center of the circle will just be incredibly moved. It is the most extraordinary, beautiful gift to do. Costs you nothing. You just need a group of friends.
Yes. Wow. I got the chills. Oh, that was so good. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. To everyone who listened and watched, I'm sure you felt the sound or probably a sound or health as a result of this. So definitely get this book. You can feel free to get Erica's book at bit.ly/vibrational sound healing. Checking our affiliate link really does help the podcast and me, as we do get a couple of pennies from each sale. I highly suggest this book, and I think that you'll love the sound of it as well. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.